Hi everybody, yes I'm still here and I'm sorry it's taken so long, but I am trying. We have been so busy, and that's going to be on the next video you see, which will be coming, I hope, fairly soon. So it will be Jack and Carolyn's chicken farm. Anyway, that'll be coming next. But that's why I've been so busy. You're not going to believe it. But let's talk orchids, because I have brought all our orchids in because it was getting cooler, and I thought, oh, we were building things in the patio where they were, and I thought, well, it's getting cooler and I don't want them injured in the building process, so I did bring them in. That was a big job. So one watering day, I watered them out there, then I brought them in, put them all in place. And I have some really exciting things to show you about them. There's only two left outside. The dendrobium is still in the patio, and the cymbidium is still outside on the east side of the house. It's had all this hot weather and everything that's happened, it survived. And lots of us are surviving strange weather these days. So anyway, let's talk orchids, because yes, they survived this very hot, dry summer. And this is, so if you've got your orchids outside and you bring them in, it's starting to get about that time. So usually the temperature was dropping to the high 40s. So even though it's about 10 degrees warmer in the patio, I brought them in because one thing you want to encourage your orchids to spike, especially if you've never had yours spike for you, is a 10 to 15 degree drop in temperature between your high daytime temperature and your low nighttime temperature. Now, the strange thing with us was we had such high temperatures in the daytime that when it dropped to even 60, even though that was warm, they were still getting that 10 to 15 degree drop in temperature to encourage them to spike. It was still below 70, so it started to make them start thinking of spiking and reproducing. So that was one reason I brought them in, and I figured they got that 10 to 50. It doesn't have to be 40 or 50 degrees. It just has to be that 10 to 15 degree drop in temperature. So they got that, and I thought, okay, we'll bring them in. And the other thing that's going to make them decide to reproduce and spike is the daylight is becoming less, and we've got darker times coming in the evenings, and that also tells them. Now, if you are in an air conditioning, we do not have air conditioning, therefore we're out in the patio because I figured it cools down quicker than the house does. And if you have air conditioning and it's continuous and your orchids aren't getting a drop in temperature, now sometimes the daylight, the shorter daylight will be enough to do it. But if you have trouble and you're not getting those orchids of yours to spike, and you do have a temperature set in your house that's always constant, then I might think about having them in a room where you can open a window and still give them some daylight, so that if it's cooler at night, you don't want to upset the rest of the house. Maybe you can put them in a separate room and have a window open in the evening. So there's many different ways you can try to get that drop in temperature. you know, and if you've only got a few orchids, it's easier to move them to another room. And also, you want to make sure they're getting light, because now I'm going to show you each of the windows where my orchids are, and I'm going to show you and tell you what time I put my lights on for my orchids at night, because it's dark early now. So let's get started, because I want to visit each window, and I want to show you, I have my tape measure here, because one of my traffic cone orchids, this one right here, it started to spike in late spring or middle spring, and it's been spiking and spiking, and it is huge. And I have a tape measure. Let's just see how huge it is. It is, and it is bending, and I haven't staked it yet. It's 3 feet, easily 3 feet. And I'll show you a close-up later, because it's also starting its flowers on the end, which are going towards the window. And it's one of my older orchids in a traffic cone. It has lots of leaves, and I will show a close-up. But it has another spike coming. It's about 3 inches long, and it's very healthy looking, and it's on the other side. So this orchid is going to have 2 spikes and possibly some branches. So I'm waiting to see about the branching. And then I seen that, and then I noticed quite a few of them are starting to spike already. So it's that time of year where you're trying to get that drop in temperature. And I have around this window, it's some stick-on LED lights that I turn on every night. And on this side, I have a grow light that I got with some money that Granny Franny sent me. Thank you very much. And I put this on every night when we're about to watch TV, maybe 7 o'clock or 6 approximately. And then it goes off at about 10 o'clock, sometimes 10:30. So you can't leave lights on them all day. Like anybody, they do like their period of rest. So that's about what time. And so, because this corner is quite dark, I do have the grow light, and I have the light around the window, and I do have a light over here, a big one, but it's so bright I actually am going to take it away. I can't use it, so you will see that. Now, I'm just going to give you a close-up of this window, and then I'll move to a different window. So I'll just get the camera. Okay. Then I can explain a little more about certain plants, I guess. So, here we are in this corner. Now, this is Phallophinia, and her little flower, she's been flowering one after another, and I think there's still going to be some more coming. And she is in the glass vase, and just getting watered once a week. And she's perked up because she just got moved into this vase. And this is one of the twins. Now you can see really good growth all the way down. I'm happy with the glass vases. I had 2 twins that I took out of a big red pot. So this one here, and I do not see any spikes coming on that. But the 2 Sherianas, this one was down to 1 leaf, and while it was outside, it got a new leaf, and in the glass pot. And this one is a new one from Mother's Day that Rosemary got me, and it has a new leaf, and it's in the glass pot. So, there's another one here. Nice root growth still. And this plastic bottle experiment has a spike coming down in here. And it was put in the in the glass pot. And it also has some really nice roots growing. Seems quite happy. Now here's a close-up of my traffic cone. You can see there's lots of roots here. And I'm not sure how many leaves, but a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 at least. And there's the other spike right down in here. So that's the second spike. And as we go up here, there may or may not be a branch coming in here. Where am I? I'm not sure, but it goes up and up, and you can see flowers starting to come. But how I'm going to stake that, I don't know. Now, my daughter had a beautiful dendrobium, and her cat got into the kikes, but she brought me this when she was over to visit on her birthday, just before her birthday. And she brought me 2, and I put them in with the 2 kikes I had from before. And they seem to have got quite used to it. You can see roots growing down in here. So they're in a glass pot, and I'm leaving them. And here my catasetum, I had to lay a rock against it because it was wanting to fall over. So hoping I get flowers this year with that. And this is one that's still in a pot. I probably should put in a glass vase. Another traffic cone here. Some do not have spikes. Some still in a pot that I wish I'd put in a glass one, but I'm going to leave it and see. We have lots of roots growing on this one and a new leaf. And here's the other twin. Not doing as well, not in the glass vase, but time will tell. I don't think it's doing as well, but it does have some really nice roots growing, so I think it will perk up. And over here, we have a nice root coming and a new leaf. So that's how this is going in this window. And I haven't changed my fertilizer yet, but I will by Halloween to a higher middle number fertilizer. And I've been using the high nitrogen for most of the growing season. So I'm just going to be back in 1 minute, and we'll be at another window. So here we are in the kitchen window. I'm sure glad you can't see my housework, because you know when you're working on a big project, something else has to not get done. So anyway, you can't see that. So I forgot to say, this window and the one I just showed you are west windows. So they're the first I take the orchids out of when summer's coming, because it's very hot. And the cactus stay in the window, heat or no heat, and I don't move them, and they're quite happy in the other window. But it is too hot to leave the orchids here, and it could be done because on this window I have a blind on the inside and another one on the outside of the bay window. But I don't unless I really have to. Like if we got fire season and smoke, I will bring them in. So I also got my fountains set up with misting so that they're getting good humidity, because when they're in the house, there's less humidity. Although our furnace, I think, came on one day when we did have a cooler temperature, but that's not happening. But there is a few in spike. I believe this traffic cone, and we'll show you a close-up here, but I'm really happy with these glass vases. Now this one is, I wrote a note on it. This is one from Roehampton Orchids, and some of them we put the drain hole in the bottom now, but you can see pretty good growth coming. The roots are going down, down, down to that bark, down to my wine corks. Down they're going, and they're looking quite healthy. And I'm not going to say why yet, but I think they're definitely happier than being in the small pots. And that one's dripping a little. Because it has a bottom hole, and I just tipped it. And then here, even this one has some nice roots. It also has a bottom hole. Has some nice roots coming. And the leaves, they just seem very happy in there. So, now, that one spiked late in the year, so I don't think it's going to be spiking for a bit. But I do believe I saw a spike on, oh yeah, there's a spike back there. So I will show you that, and there's another one here. So some might be later, and because I've got windows, I may just, crack them for a few, maybe a week. I haven't started, but I've been busy, but I still might do that for the ones that are hanging in there, so waiting to spike. So I'm going to show you a close-up of this one, and we'll move to the next ones. Okay. There we go. Okay. This mister, when it's going, I don't have it on. Maybe I have a switch over here, down here, and I just hit that. And then this is the switch here for my LED lights. When I put it on, I get the lights, and I turn it off. I've had them. But this mister, I put that little teapot on, and it looks like the tea is cooking. I like that. So in here, this is the one that spiked late, and I have left the spike on, not sure why, just it's the first one I put in glass, and I did check the pot and everything when I put it outside, and everything was fine. This is its last leaf. You can always tell if an orchid's having trouble because the last leaf should be healthier than all the other leaves, really. If they start to come shriveled and small, then then the last ones before, it's going to tell you something is wrong. So, in my basket, I don't see any spikes coming here, but they've done well with new growth over the summer. So, same with this one. And this one here does have a spike coming in there. But I haven't seen one there, and this one has a spike coming. I hope you can see it. I'm on my tiptoes. It has a spike coming up there. So we're going to have some beautiful flowers. So let's go to this other window now. Now these are north windows. And I have the same arrangement. I have a plug in here, and I just switch this on, and poof come my misters. So up here I have an orchid. Can't remember. Some of them have just fine, but you remember my last orchid I put in this glass vase. It's got this newer leaf that came, and it's still in bloom. I did lose one flower at this end, but that's all. They're not showing any sign of quitting yet, and it seems to be adjusted. I'm just watering it once a week in the vase, and this little one is doing good in this little pot, except I did break this off one watering day, but it has a new leaf coming. I felt so bad when that happened. And this is a very old orchid of mine that got repotted and got its stem cut off, but it's still doing good, and it has a new leaf. So these two have these lights. I have a switch here, and that turns the lights on just on one side. So, whoop. Okay, now we're going to go over to this window. So here, now this is the traffic cone that fell over a few years ago, and it had an injury in here. It wasn't from rot, but anyway, it had an injury and I lost all those leaves, but then it grew this beautiful basil keiki. Look at this. This was the last leaf, and there's a new one coming here, and look at it is spiking. I'm so happy to see that. And here we have another new one in a traffic cone. And this is the, oh no, it's not that, this is Fel Sogo Reflex, November 2020, or Mother's Day. So it's doing well in here. I think it might be going to flower again. It has a new leaf coming. And up here, this is the one I'm not supposed to cut the spike off of, and it has a new flower coming here. You leave the spike on those ones. Miltassia up there. And in here, in my aquarium, I have the water about this deep, but sometimes it's deeper. But will you look at this root? It's been down in this water for a year or more. And it's also going over this way. And it seems fine. And maybe I'll get a flower out of it. And this one has perked up. Now that one up there, it was starting to dry, and I've been trying to keep it misted. And there's one back there. So we're hanging on. We're doing fairly good now. Okay. Now, I have to take you to the back room, and so I'm going to shut off and I'll be right with you. Okay, this is my oldest orchid in a traffic cone. We're in the new patio, and its roots are healthy, but it's been losing the odd leaf in the middle, and it keeps getting these funny leaves I was telling you about. This just came out like that and went. Got a nut. I think this one is going to have a terminal spike. I don't know what is going on. And I haven't checked in the pot yet, but this is the one I did repot into the smaller bark a couple years ago. But I'm just concerned why it is doing that. It's just getting narrower and narrower up here. And I don't know if there's a spike coming in here or what it's doing, but it's just not big enough to do anything from this anymore. They just aren't opening up. So anybody got any suggestions, let me know. And then I have these two here. I got, maybe I can open the blind. We got the blinds down because of the sun. They do get some light there. That might help. So these ones, this is one of my last orchids from Roehampton, Val Ox Firebird. And it started to get this issue going on right after I got it. And I think it was a fungus. And I separated it from the other orchids. Now it's growing good roots now. And this is the latest leaf. So I think it got over whatever it had. I don't know what it had, but it went right down to the bottom. You can see in here. But it's growing nice new roots now. And I'm hoping it's recovering because I was so sad to see that. I mean, a new orchid, and it's got roots growing down, and I think it's going to recover, but I have segregated all three of these. And this one here is a little pyloric orchid that had a similar looking leaf, but it just wasn't doing well, and it has a new leaf coming. So these are my three that are in TLC. and I didn't want to miss out showing them to you. But I will walk over here and show you where my cymbidium is. So this is the east side of the house, and you'll see a cymbidium down here. There. Open that. Ouch. So down here is my cymbidium, and I have not brought it in yet. So, but you can see it doesn't get, it gets daylight all the time, but no direct sunlight. So, it's looking pretty good. Maybe I can go down here. So it has some new growth, and but it's not, they can take a little bit colder at night, so I'm not too in a hurry of bringing it in. So I like to say goodbye to you guys, and I will be back very soon. I will be back very soon. Hi, honey. I will be back with Jack and Carolyn's farming video. Your mid-70s is never too late, and we'll see you soon. Bye.